Well, hello there, and welcome to this week's episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. I'm your host, River Lee, I'm the founder of the Savvy Groomer, where I teach pet professionals how to find their purpose and profit while enjoying their passion. We're going to go ahead and get started for this week's topic. Hey, Peter, great to see you. So, this week's topic is the groomer's roadmap to financial success. So if you guys aren't familiar at all with the Savvy Groomer or myself, I teach personal finance. That is my number one goal. The other things that I add in with business and everything, yes, it's very important, but there's no way to have a successful business without knowing what to do with your money. And as the OG greedy bitch, this is from my Groomer Gifts line. I love this hoodie. It says, "Won't apologize for making money." I really enjoy the fact that I make six figures grooming, and I won't apologize for that. I won't apologize for doing what I love and being paid really well for it. I make people happy, and therefore they pay me money. So I want to go through what I call the roadmap to financial success that I created to explain how to go from what we call survive to thrive. So if you've never heard this before, in Personal Finance and Unleashed, which is my online course teaching you all about how to get your money to work for you, we talk about 3 stages. Survive is living paycheck to paycheck. Live is where you're comfortable, and then thrive is where you've been able to save money for, retirement and living a life that you've only dreamed of. So I'm going to pull up right now, and I hope you guys can see it. This is the roadmap to financial success. As you can see, we have it sectioned off into survive, live, and thrive. There's officially 9 steps, although you don't have to do them necessarily in exactly this order. I'd like to see you do it in this order, but you're grown-ass women, and you can make your own decisions, or men. Sorry, Peter. But survive starts with 3 different sections. So first things first, we want to go ahead and get on a written budget. For a lot of you guys, you want to avoid this like the plague, but I want you to think about your budget like a appointment book for your finances. Too often, you guys will tell me, I can't do a written budget. I don't know what my month's going to look like. And the most important thing you can do is just try to get a handle of that stuff. A list of bills is not a budget. You want to have a plan for where all of that money is going to go. Too often, you guys will tell me things to the effect of, oh, I can't do that. But imagine if your grooming salon, if you guys had a day where you just knew which dogs were going to come in, you just didn't know when or how, they just showed up. It would be chaos. So instead, go ahead and get on a written budget. In Personal Finance and Unleashed, we teach you how to do that. And we teach you how to do that in a way that you're going to start enjoying the process. Step number 2 is creating what we call a safety net. Now, there's a big difference when we're talking about our emergency fund. There's 2 levels we have. Number 2, which is stage 2, which is your safety net. And then we're also going to get to stage 5, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, but that's your emergency stockpile. So a safety net is basically just enough money that if something bad happened, you could cover your butt. Some people will choose to do between $500 and $1,000. I like to see about 1 month's worth of bills. However, I'm perfectly okay with you having as little as about $1,000. $1,000 is enough to get your car fixed if you need it really quickly. $1,000 is enough to buy a crappy car if your car dies. $1,000 is enough to fix most minor, keyword minor, issues. So if you're having issues, very quickly you can get taken care of without going into debt. There's no reason you guys shouldn't be able to get $1,000. As groomers, we get a lot of money, guys. That's just the truth. So don't be afraid to go ahead and spend a little money. go ahead and consider, getting that money. So take your tips and put it in a jar. Most of you guys are doing, let's say you're doing 5 dogs a day or cats. Okay. So 5 dogs a day, I would say you get at least 2 $10 tips or 4 $5 tips. That's $20. $20 a day times 5 days a week is $100. So in 10 weeks, which is 2.5 months, you would be able to go ahead and save that $1,000. And that's if you get $20 a day in tips total. I probably get about $100 a day in tips. But I also grooms that are $100. So I get a lot of $10 or $20 tips. Just is what it is. All right. We're going to move to number 3, which is to pay off debt. I have a lot of mixed feelings about debt. On one hand, guys, I feel like debt is a tool in the sense that and I hate to say that because I think that's such a bad phrase, but if I have a groomer who wants to go get a grooming van, most of us can't afford between $80,000 and $120,000 for a grooming van. We just can't. So anything around that is going to be a little difficult, right? That's just the truth. With that, and it's hard for me to explain, but basically, I want to see you guys pay off that van as quick as you can, get out of debt, have your next van, pay it in full, all of that stuff. But I understand that a lot of times we have to take out debt. The goal is to get out of debt as quickly as possible. Now, as far as this goes, I would use these steps in your personal finance, although it's very easy to take these and go ahead and use them in your business. So paying off debt in your personal life. Do you have a car payment? Do you have student loans? Do you have credit card debt? Do you have medical debt? Taking that all and focusing on paying them off will really help you financially. A lot of times what I have you guys do when you're like, I don't have enough money and I'm trying to get the lay of the land. I say, okay, write down all the debt you have. And a lot of times you guys will be like, I don't have any debt. I'm like, okay, great. And you're like, oh, well, I have my car. I'm like, well, that's debt. Oh, well, I have a house. I'm like, well, that's debt too. You're like, oh, well, I have a student loan or medical debt, or I owe my buddy money, whatever it is. Get all that together and pay it off as fast as you can. So once you have gotten from the written budget, your safety net, paid off your debt, you're out of survive, because most groomers have about $1,000 a month in debt payments. Now that sounds excessive, and it kind of is, but when you add up everything that you've probably got a car payment, which is on average between $300 and $500, right? So you got $300 to $500 in your car. You might have a credit card or two, so that's easily $100 to $300, right? Maybe a student loan. A lot of you guys, like if you were like me and thought you wanted to be a veterinarian and then you realized that was just not for you, you probably have that loan. You could have medical loans. If you guys have ever been bitten and didn't have any insurance, you might be paying that back off, or dental bills, whatever it is, add it up. And imagine if you paid off that debt and you had that money again. I think about that a lot in my grooming business because I have a $1,500 a month grooming van payment, and I am almost down to the wire where my van's going to be paid off. Guess what? When that van is paid off, I will have an extra $1,500 in my business a month. That's a big deal. That is, easily, I'm trying to think of like everything to do with that. And I just got very excited. Like I could buy a bathing system in one go. I don't need one, but I could buy one. It's like, I could buy all the things that I never knew I wanted. Obviously, what I'm going to do instead is take that money and put it towards another grooming van. Because now I can take that $1,500 and save it all up, and then I'll have it paid off. So that's one way of doing it. Now, after we have paid off our debt, we move really into live. And lube is really where we get comfortable. And a lot of groomers will get really comfortable here. So the very first stage, and I guess this sounds really nasty. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. But number 4 is to decide, are you a groomer or a business owner? Now, can you be both? Yes. But can you master both? Very rarely not. Very rarely can you do that. So if you follow, I always say, guys, listen, there is best case scenario and then there's real life. So let's just start with best case scenario. So best case scenario, what I really like you guys to do is, in a perfect world, go learn grooming somewhere you're going to get paid to be trained. Hopefully by someone who's nice to you. So go and get trained and get paid to be trained. Ideally, this would be somewhere that gives you benefits like health insurance, like a 401k. I know you're like, man, is she suggesting we go start our careers at corporate? A lot of times, yeah. A lot of times if we could turn back the clock, it would be significantly better for a lot of us to go work at Petco PetSmart, right? At 18, 19 and learn that skill and grow our bank account. If we had put away a little bit of money in the beginning, we'd be better off. But anyway, go ahead and start there. Start saving up some money. And then when you leave, go work for a shop that you can master your skills. I'd love to see you guys go work underneath, and I hate to name names because I don't want to make anyone like, oh yeah, I need to go find if I can work with these people. But there's so many amazing business owners who either bring in talent to teach, or they're very talented groomers and they could teach competition level grooming. I would like most people to start corporate, then go to, if they want to grow to the competition level grooming, go there. And then once they've reached the pinnacle of that and they've achieved all they wanted to achieve grooming wise, then go open your business. Because it's very, very difficult for you guys to grow those grooming skills and grow business skills. It's amazing to me that people think that they're going to be able to do that. Now, there are people that do. But most of the time, people that run really successful grooming businesses are not the most technical groomers. Because a lot of the way that you make money is not through the world's best haircut. It's through good marketing and really having a solid business. So I want you to decide, are you going to invest in becoming the best groomer, which is perfectly fine, but try not to own your own business while you're trying to build those skill sets, unless if your business is running on autopilot, which is very possible. Or do you want to be the world's best business owner? It's very hard to be both unless if you've mastered one and then we're able to go backwards. Now, there are plenty of opportunities where you can grow the world's best business and then have lots and lots of money and then be able to hire those amazing artist groomers to come to your shop, teach not just you, but your staff. But I just want to make sure that you're prepared for that, because it's a giant commitment and it's a lot of money. When I go to a seminar outside the pet industry, I would say I spend an average of about $5,000 to $8,000 on a weekend-long seminar for business on trade leadership, Tony Robbins programs. There's Amy Porterfield did the entrepreneurial experience. I'm sure I'm missing some that I've been to. But a business boutique, all of those things outside the pet industry are thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, I'm able to invest in that, but I'm a certified feline master groomer. I don't need more education in grooming. I'm pretty happy where I am for my business. I want to keep growing my business. Now, I also want to do these extra seminars because, of course, I'm a business coach. But with you guys, you can focus on one or the other. I just want to see you guys focus your energy on one thing at a time. Master one thing at a time. And then once you've mastered it, go master the other thing, because it's very difficult to do both. So now that I've made you all very mad, I'm going to take a sip of my drink. Don't mind me, I'm a little thirsty today. It's been so cold. We have snow in New England. I'm just not ready. Not ready for winter. I know it's almost Christmas, but I'm not ready. All right, guys. So that brings us to number 5. Now, number 5 is all about the emergency stockpile. So remember, in 2, we had the safety net, but in 5, we have the emergency stockpile. So you're like, what the hell's the difference, right? So with our safety net, all we wanted to do was have a little bit of money just in case of those minor issues. Our emergency stockpile is a ton of money. So back in number 3, we paid off our debt, right? So now we have, let's say, $1,000 a month just sitting there. Plus, we've gone through personal finance on a leash, in theory, and we found extra money or extra ways to make more money. Then we are able to take that money and put it aside. So our emergency stockpile, in a perfect world, if you are a groomer who is an employee, I like you to have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So in your savings account, you would have 3 months to 6 months worth of your expenses. So your rent or your mortgage, car payment. Or we wouldn't have a car payment. You might have a sinking fund, which I know is different. But whatever it is, your gas, electricity, utilities, cell phone, etc., all of that, you'd have 3 to 6 months. Now, if you are a self-employed groomer, if you are self-employed or a business owner, which are 2 different people, then I want you to have 6 months to a year's worth of business expenses in your business account and 6 months to a year worth of personal expenses in your personal account. Now, before COVID, when I would say this, people thought I was bananas. They thought I was bananas. They're like, why would I ever need 6 months worth of expenses or a year worth of expenses? Well, the truth is we never know what the hell is going to happen when it's going to happen. We didn't need a global pandemic for this to be potentially true. Sometimes people get sick and they need to be able to take time off. More than one groomer has gotten cancer and had to hire another groomer to work in their shop while they were ill. Or they've had to they didn't have to have a baby, but like as a groomer who is pregnant, maybe if you have a complicated pregnancy, you might not be able to work. And that could be for 6 months, 9 months if it's a very complicated pregnancy, or maybe time afterwards if you have a C-section, and then your options are, do I keep the business afloat? Do I close the business? It's really sad when someone is having a tragedy like a complicated pregnancy, like cancer. I needed about, I wouldn't say 6 months. It was a long time though. I needed mental health time after my daughter's passed. There's so many things that can happen that require you to take some time off. And if you're self-employed or a business owner, not only are you not making a paycheck, you have bills. So it's actually costing you money to be taking care of yourself, which is awful, but it's just the truth. So in that instance, if I didn't have an employee who took over the van and was able to do things, I had to take my emergency fund because my emergency fund allowed me to not take a paycheck from the business. I just lived off of my savings. But the business had savings. So if I didn't have that employee and I didn't have that opportunity, then I would have had to just close the business for several months. There would have been no other way. And so I would have had to keep paying, I can't call Mercedes and be like, hey, I'm having a really hard time. Could you just not take the payment for a few months? I can't call my insurance company and say, hey, I am having this really horrific thing happen. Could I just not pay my insurance? Now, I could take my insurance off, but depending upon where you live, like where I live, if you take the insurance off the car, then it's going to be very expensive when you put it back on. So the stockpile is there. Because I want you to think for a second in a minute. Imagine you know what your money is doing because you're on a written budget. You have no debt, zero debt. You have decided you're going to become this master groomer or you're going to be this amazing business owner. And then you have a year's worth of personal expenses in the bank and business expenses. Imagine the things that you could do in your business. You would feel brave. You would feel confident. You wouldn't worry. That $5 pay increase you guys are always freaking out about, wouldn't be worried. Switching your employees from, commission to hourly, you wouldn't be worried about it. You wouldn't be worried at all. You'd be like, what the fuck? If everyone quits, who cares? I'll be fine. Right? You'd just be like, I'm not worried about it. So it's really that cushion, think about that giant stockpile of money is going to make your life a lot easier. So that's why we do it. Our next step and our last step in Live is 6, which is all about planning for retirement. I'm always shocked at how few of you guys have you have nothing saved for retirement. Nothing. And I don't care if you're 21. I don't expect anyone 18 to 21, but 21, 22, we all should start saving for retirement. We all don't, but that's okay. Like, I get it. But I mean, there's even groomers 40, 50, 60, zero retirement. And I'm always shocked at how many groomers are like, I'm going to sell my shop and that's my retirement. Well, nobody wants to buy your job. Most of you guys have a shop that if you didn't work in would not be profitable. Or even if you are working in it, a lot of them aren't profitable. Whenever I look at it, like I have these calls with you guys and I love you all. I love my virtual coffees, but it's not to shame you. Please don't think it's about shaming you guys. But when we do the math together, and we do that math together, and I know your business is not profitable. Or if it is profitable, it's only profitable because you do a lot of free work. And if I asked you how much money you earning per hour if you're not grooming, you guys aren't earning anything. You're not paying yourself for the extra 10, 15 hours a week that you do marketing, or you're doing social media, or you're doing phone calls. You're not paying yourself hourly to do that. And then when you are grooming, a lot of times you're paying your groomer 50% commission, but you can't take 50% commission for your own grooms because then there's no money in the business to pay bills. So 6 is all about planning for retirement because the goal is for you to be able to retire. Now, retirement is not you sitting at home and doing nothing. We talk about our different financial personalities, and one of them is Tabitha Teach and the other is Tess Thrive. My goal for you guys to make enough money that you can do whatever you want. What do you want to do? Not go home and golf and like cook and knit. I mean, if that's what you want to do, good, go for it. But what is your goal to do when you retire? What is, been a plan that you've had or a dream that you've had? Maybe it is to do dog showing, or on the flip side, do rescue. I mean, maybe you want to open up a kennel and it's just a rescue kennel. I have a real soft spot for senior pets. I would really love to be able to foster senior pets until they pass away and have the money to take the burden of their medical bills and just whatever they need, get like the hydrotherapy tub and the treadmill and just let them love and just grow old with love and people around them. There's lots of things I'd love to do, but the easiest way to do that is to earn enough money that'll be able to do that. You guys hear when I talk about my beach house, I want this badass beach house when I get old, and I want all my grandkids to come, and I want to have the fire pit, and they're sitting by the fire pit. I just have these wants and these dreams. But the way I'm going to do that is to earn enough money that I no longer have to earn money. Because when you put money into retirement, what happens is, like, let's say you put into an IRA. And we don't have to go down the rabbit hole. I have a whole workshop all about that stuff, which I'll be saying in 2021 as I update everything. So with that, you're going to put enough money in there and it's going to pay you money from the dividends. So that money in there is going to earn money. And if the goal is to have enough money in that account, that money that it earns will be enough money to replace how much money you need to make. So you don't have to make anything because you've already made enough and now you're making money off of your money. Seems pretty legit. So you have to do that. You have to put money into savings to do that. Now, once you've started your retirement, you're going to start working into Thrive. Now, this is really where things begin to change. Things really begin to change as far as growing wealthy. So, 7 is all about paying off a house. Yes, you heard me. Paying off a house. Different parts of the country have different houses. It's just true. Now, for the most part, I have no problem if you guys want to rent or if you want to buy. In some areas, it's actually cheaper to rent than it is to buy. Like where I am right now, it's significantly cheaper. People will be like, oh, it's basically the same as a house payment, but that's not true. So when I had my house, and I loved my house, but my mortgage was $2,000, my electricity bill was generally around $400, but could get as high as $600. Same thing with my heat. My heat sometimes, which was gas, so that was also my hot water and everything, could be as low as $300, but it could be as high as $600. Just little things. Like it probably cost me about $3,000 a month to take care of that house. Now, I live in an apartment right now that's $1,800 a month. It's much nicer because it has all the newest amenities. If you're not familiar with New England, basically everything was built. Like a new house is generally built in the 60s. And you have some houses that are built, it could be as early as 1700s. We have some houses that are older than the country. But I would say like the average house in my area is built in like the 50s, 60s. We do have new construction, but new construction starts around $500,000 to $900,000. But if you want like a regular like 3-bedroom ranch, it's going to go anywhere from $200,000 to about $400,000 and need about $100,000 worth of updating. So for me, I can spend $1,800 a month, and that includes all my heat. So I save that $400 to $600. I don't pay for water. I don't pay for sewer. I don't pay for hot water. So I don't have to worry about any of that. And then if something breaks, instead of paying a plumber or paying a handyman hundreds and hundreds of dollars, I just call my maintenance guy, who's wonderful. And so right now, as I'm focusing on paying off my debt, my personal debt, I have a little less than $5,000 left. Now, shame on me. I would have had nothing left had I not leased my vehicle. My next vehicle will probably be a cash buy, but it's a long story. But the long story short, I had been T-boned. I had a car actually, T-boned my other car. I had fractured my back. It's a long story. But I had a basically brand new Audi, which I really loved that. I didn't even register the car. I had it less than 30 days. That's how short of a period I had it. It was crazy. And it got totaled. And I had to get another car. And normally I would have just purchased a car cash. But obviously I was waiting for that payout, which took almost 2 years, by the way, which was stupid. But it is what it is. It was a nice payout, though, when I got it. That said, and I'm going to cut out all the details. Sorry, guys. You're going to be chit-chatting. But what ended up happening with that, long story short, was that I decided to lease because, again, when I leased that car, I paid $15,000 for the 3.5 years, and I got 50,000 miles out of it. And I was like, you know what? For $15,000, I would have paid about that for a car anyway. And then I have 3.5 years to figure out what's going on with my life. And I still have about a year left. I have a year in March left. So I've got plenty of time. So for me, it's not a big deal. I knew I could pay that. And now that I have about $5,000 left, after I finish paying that off, I'm going to pay that off very quickly before the lease is up. And then I can start saving for my next car, which I'll probably pay about $10,000 to $15,000. And would I lease again? I would, if I had $15,000 in the bank, I might spend it on a car that I'm going to have for 3.5 years, because I do like the reliability. I have to get to work. And now that my van is garaged somewhere that I don't live, I have to be able to get to the van. If I can't get to my van, then I can't go to work. But anyway, so the whole point of that was to mention that, right now I'm renting, but as I go through, and again, I want to show you guys the roadmap. As I'm going through this roadmap, guys, as I have these things, at some point, once I have paid off my debt, so my car payment's $450. So when the car payment is gone, and I have that's an extra $450 I'm going to be able to put towards my emergency stockpile. So after I have my stockpile, which I'm really excited about, I actually have enough savings that I could pay off the car, but I'm not going to quite do that because there's been with COVID, I'm just holding onto a lot of cash. But after I have that fully funded stockpile, right? And, I already have, I won't lie, I've already started retirement savings. Continue with that. Then I can take that money and purchase a home. Now, I have mixed ideas of what I might do. I might actually continue renting and purchase a small condo that I will basically be able to buy in cash and go ahead and rent that out. That is one strategy. And then do enough of them that they create a revenue stream to then go ahead and buy a house or use that equity to buy a house. Now, these are more strategies that we're not going to talk about in Personal Finance on a Leash. These are strategies that we're going to be talking about in the mastermind coming next year in April, tentatively called Unapologetically Wealthy Groomer. It should be called The Greedy Bitch, but we'll see. But you're going to have to go through Personal Finance on a Leash first to understand the fundamentals. And then as we get to more finesse or more deep topics like creating your credit, like fixing your credit, creating your credit, getting ready to buy houses, strategies to buy houses, especially being self-employed. But there's lots of different things you can do with that. But ultimately, having a home that you own, that you've paid off in cash, think about that, guys. Now, I don't know what your local taxes are or HOAs, etc. But for me personally, even if it went from $2,000 a month to $500 a month, that's $1,500 that I then have to again spend that money. So if I was paying $1,000 in debt and now I don't have that, and $1,500 a month, and I don't have that, that's $2,500 extra a month that I don't have to do anything with. And now if I earn enough money from my retirement, right, that I don't have to work, but I choose to work, that's when we get to step 8. 8 is called redefine your reality. Now, if I had no debt, I've mastered becoming a groomer or a business owner or both. I have a year's worth of expenses, both for my business and my personal. I have retirement saved or even finished, and I have a house that I own cash. Now, this is the fun part. This is where you get to dream dreams that people, like when people like say something, they like, must be nice. You get to be the person they get to say must be nice. Now you get to redefine what it is that you want to do with your life. As what do you need, right? You make so much money and you don't need it. You don't need it. It's just extra. Now you can do whatever you want. And it's up to you to redefine your reality. How are you going to create that life? Create that choice. What are you going to do? And that's all on you, baby girl. You dream whatever you want to dream and you enjoy it. And you just daydream on what that's going to be. Is that traveling? Is that buying a beautiful RV and traveling the country? Is that going, selling your grooming business and living in Rome for a year? What is it? Could be anything you want. It could also just be finally going home, or not, one groomer was like, when I can afford it, I want to go home every day at 2:00 and not work weekends. You could probably do that sooner than step 8. But by step 8, you have no more excuses, guys, right? At that point, you got plenty of money. And that brings us to step 9. And that is to be wealthy and give. Now, all too often, especially in the grooming industry, I see you guys talking about these terrible people that have money. And if you honestly believe only bad people have money, that's a problem. Because that means you're never going to have money. Because if you don't want to be a bad person, right? Why would you have money? So, and I very tongue-in-cheek call myself a greedy bitch. But I do that because I sacrificed a lot. I suffered a lot, guys. For those of you guys that don't know my story, I opened up my first grooming salon 4 days before my son was born. I was pregnant. I was living in my car. My son's father had kicked me out. No one was willing to take me in. And I always get a little choked up when I talk about it. But, we lived in that grooming salon illegally for 6 months because I had nowhere to go. I had a brand new baby and nowhere to go. And we made do. I missed my son's first step. I missed my son's first word. I missed a lot of things I can't get back. I had to sacrifice. I was, hardcore in Survive. I remember buying one of those really crappy, remember when Domino's had like the $5 pizza deal? I would freeze the other pizzas, which by the way was disgusting. But I would try to make one pizza last an entire week because I had $20 a week to do that. That was my food budget, was $20 a week. I remember on months that that was really tight, I would buy a $1 loaf of Stop and Shop, which is our local grocer. They would have this disgusting white bread. It literally tasted like sugar air. Like it was gross. And I would get free ketchup packets from Burger King, McDonald's, and I would put ketchup on the sandwich. I couldn't even buy a bottle of ketchup. That's how broke I was. And I would eat ketchup sandwiches. The vinegar makes you not feel hungry. Or I would brush my teeth. Because brushing your teeth, especially with super minty toothpaste, makes you not feel hungry anymore. And I don't want anyone to go through these things. I can't freaking wait until I have more money than I need. And I can, do you know how much of a game changer it would have been for someone to pay my light bill for a year? It would have been a game changer. Or if someone had bought me $1,000 car, it would have changed my life. Or given me a $200 Stop and Shop, or a grocery card. I mean, I would have made that $200 last 3-4 months. Now, listen, I'm perfectly happy being called a greedy bitch. Now I can have me a $600 a month Starbucks budget if I want to. And that's what I generally do. I have $600 set aside every month for me to blow on Starbucks because I've earned it. I don't deserve it. I've earned it. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with coming from, the crappy of situations and making enough money by serving people. And I'm really happy about it. And we do lots of positive things. And you guys should always find ways. You don't have to give money. A lot of times just doing small things in your community, or even, whether those are volunteering or actions will make you feel good. If you're feeling sorry for yourself, let me tell you, find someone who's really having a hard time and go help them out. My son and I make what we call blessing bags. So we get brown paper bags and we go to, we have Ocean State Job Lot, which is kind of like a dollar store. It's a discount store. And I buy, like this time of year, I will buy winter hats, gloves or mittens, but generally gloves, the hand warmers, granola bars, clementines, and I try to do like the Gatorade Powerade versus just a bottle of water. But if I do a bottle of water, I try to add those packets of Gatorade. And the reason I do that is because somebody who is homeless, you know, we will go to the homeless that we see. We live in New England, so it's cold, it's snow right now. So someone who's out there in homeless, they really have nowhere to go. So the least they can have is a hat and some gloves, some food, you know, some water or electrolytes to help keep them hydrated. You know, and that's our hope, is that little bit will help them. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit. And, you know, it costs me generally about $5 a blessing bag, but $5 to me is a lot less than somebody who is cold and hungry and scared. And let me tell you, their faces light up when they see my son, who's 9, treat them like a person and hand them something. You know, it just makes you feel good. Cheaper things we do is we get a bag of quarters and we go down to where there's meters. And we make sure no one's meter runs out. We just walk and anybody who has less than 15 minutes, we just add a few quarters. Because then, and if you guys have ever had that where you've been running back to the meter and it ran out and you got a ticket. And like the tickets down here are like $60. So that's a lot of money. So we do that. You know, we've done things where we have volunteered for different organizations. Right now it's kind of a weird time with COVID. Pardon me. But find something. You know, don't necessarily give away free grooms to rescues unless if it's at the rescue and everything like that. That becomes kind of a trap. But find something that speaks to you, that makes you feel good. Because you can give at any time. You know, Rockefeller said that if he didn't tithe, which is to give 10% of his gross income to the church, then he could have never tithed on his first million. And I think he said his first paycheck was like $1 something. So, you know, giving while you don't have much will teach you to give when you have enough. Because you can always find more people that have less or they have it. You know, and that's the main thing. Hey, Erin, good to see you. She says, I hate when people say that, like I didn't work my ass for it. Well, the problem is that people don't realize, nobody realizes how much you've done unless if they know your story. And so it's funny, like I hear all the time, like things like, I'm a terrible human being, I'm greedy, I'm this and that. And I'm like, girl, you don't know my story. And they don't have to, right? You shouldn't just assume that. That comes from a place of lack from them. It's nothing to do with me, but it's just really funny when they say it to me. And I agree. Like for you, Erin, like you have your own story and it's really not fair. It's like I've earned it. So guys, I want to finish up again, your roadmap to financial success. This is all 9 of our steps. And if you follow these, you will guaranteed become wealthy. Because if you have lots of money and no debt, guess what you have? Money. It's as simple as that. So if you guys enjoyed this and would like to network with like-minded individuals, I would highly suggest you consider joining me in my free Facebook group called Savvy Pet Professionals. We talk about personal finance, business lifestyle, and coming in 2021, we're going to be doing more fun things. We're going to have office hours. We're going to be discussing more topics. I'm so excited to be able to do all of that. Now, if you're like, what, River, you're amazing. You're so cool. How can I work with you? Why, thank you very much. You know, my main thing is always focusing on work-life balance. But there are 3 main ways to work with me, guys. The first way is through my business membership. So for only $35 a month, you can get a library of all of my current workshops, as well as access to that month's live workshop. Every month is different. This month we did organization of our office, which was really fun. I'm going to be doing a live video in the group as well as in the membership of my own office. I just got to find someone to hold the camera because I get dizzy following around the camera like that. Next month, well, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's primarily going to be all about your personal life and creating some personal boundaries and things like that. So every month we have a different topic. Now, if you're looking to make a major shift in your business, for instance, if you are hoping to be able to increase your pricing, create a membership, maybe you want to change the way you are organizing your business. I mean, the list is endless. There could be a ton of reasons why you need one-on-one coaching. I'm available to do that as well. I really love working with people one-on-one. It's a real high for me. I really love watching you guys go from like, I have this problem, things like I'm not charging enough, or I don't want to work weekends anymore. I don't want to do, you want to do big dogs anymore. And how do I work on this? And then watching you guys grow and learn. I love it so much. That can be, you can hire me per hour. I am $300 per hour for coaching. I would highly suggest you consider monthly coaching, which is 4 hours at $9.97 a month, and that auto rolls over. So every month you get 4 more hours and you get the monthly price. Alternatively, you can do that semi-annually or annually. I generally don't like starting somebody off annually or semi-annually. I want to make sure that you like my coaching style and I like you enough to sit around with you for 6 months. So I prefer you guys start monthly, and then after the first month, we can always talk about a package of that size. And then, of course, if you're like, well, River, how the hell am I going to pay for all this crap? No worries. You would sign up for my online course called Personal Finance on a Leash. It is 12 weeks long, and that's where you're going to learn how to organize your money, go through it, all of that. Next live boot camp that we're going to be doing of Personal Finance on a Leash is going to be in January. We are going to be closing the doors. This year in 2020, we left the doors open so that you guys could join at any time. After this live boot camp, we're only going to have it open 4 times a year for you to join. And the bonus is if you join in 2020, you will get a year free of our mastermind, our Unapologetically Wealthy Groomer mastermind. And that's going to be a $1,200 deal. So that's a big deal. And you have to go through Personal Finance on a Leash in order to be part of the mastermind. And I'm really excited about the mastermind, guys, because the mastermind is going to be all about, repairing your credit or boosting your credit, solutions or tactics to buy a house while you're self-employed, things like how to do super saving, whether that's for a down payment on a house or a down payment on a business or a mobile. We're going to be doing a lot of things that I don't have time to do in the 12 weeks. Believe it or not, in 12 weeks, I can teach you about how to make better money decisions, start saving for retirement, doing these things. But in the mastermind, I'm going to have a whole year to be able to walk you guys through that. And that's going to be done in quarterly chunks. Again, that is only going to be open 4 times next year, the mastermind. And I'm really excited about the mastermind. So, very, very excited. All right, guys. So, as always, it was amazing to hang out with you guys. I always appreciate when you guys are here, especially if you're here live. I know the streaming has not been exactly perfect. My good friend Mary Oquendo is going live right now, so I'm going to hop off, and I hope you hop onto her channel. Shelly's saying, I love your charity bags. Oh, thank you. I want to do a video with my son about them, but he's really weird. He's like, wants to be on camera, but doesn't want to be on camera, and I don't know what to do with that. I feel like, if he doesn't want to be on camera and he's on camera, then he's going to be really weird, and I already have enough anxiety about being a bad mom. I'm that mom guilt person. So I'll see if he wants to do it. It would be really fun to do that. A little walkthrough on blessing bags. And again, they're so cheap. For $5, you can really change someone's life. So I might do a video on that, but we'll see. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Happy grooming, y'all.